Texas Congressman Ron Paul is a Republican candidate for president. On December 16th, Congressman Paul raised over $6 million on the internet. That is the biggest one-day fundraising total in American political history. Congressman Paul, thanks for being a guest on Northwest Notebook.
Thank you. Real nice to be with you.
You ran for president as a libertarian back in 1988. How is it different this time around?
Well, it's much different. The conditions are much more acceptable for my message because in the 80s there were less concerns about what was happening today. Our foreign policy is a real threat to Americans. The expenditures are bad. The dollar's in trouble. The economy's in recession. And the people are starting to realize more than ever that the government doesn't work very well. Even though my message has remained the same, the reception is much better. But it's also because I'm in the Republican Party and not in a third party. The system is very biased against any competition against Republicans and Democrats. It's hard to get on ballots. It's hard to get in debates. So all these things are coming together, which has garnered us a lot of attention this go-around.
You have been one of the few Republicans against the war since the outset. You've been criticized by your opponents during the debates. Time and time again, what is the best way to combat global terrorism? Is
to stay away from the internal affairs and stay out of the internal affairs of other nations. If somebody invaded us and had troops on our land, we'd be furious, and all Americans would be together in trying to get rid of the occupiers. What if we thought they came to steal our oil or some natural resource? But we occupy right now two new countries, that is Afghanistan and Iraq, and we were very much involved before 9/11. We had bases in Saudi Arabia, and we were very much involved, and we were bombing Iraq. That was what the antagonism came from. So I would say when we leave the Middle East is what I want to do. I would say the threat of terrorism is going to be dramatically reduced. Won't be eliminated because there's still always going to be some, crazy people out there that will want to do it. But believe me, people don't commit suicide terrorism unless they're motivated, and they're usually motivated by the fact that a foreign country has occupied their territory, and we have to see it from their viewpoint. So I would say that what I'm talking about is the only way you can diminish the threat of terrorism.
My studios are just roughly 45 minutes away from the Canadian border. What are your plans for securing America's borders?
Well, I think we should have border security. We should have more border guards, and yet I don't like the idea of some of the trends that we're moving in. I don't like the idea that Americans aren't going to be able to go to Canada and come back in without a passport. I think we're going in the wrong direction. But I talk about, the immigration problem more in economic terms. As long as you have runaway welfare spending, that encourages some people here in our country not to work. Then jobs go begging, and then people come over. But they also get economic benefits like free medical care and free education and food stamps and Social Security benefits and automatic citizenship with birth here, as well as amnesty. So if we don't change that, the incentives are always going to be there. But I certainly believe that our border guards should not be in Iraq, and our resources should be here, and we should have our guard units here rather than overseas fighting in these wars that aren't going well.
Are you the real conservative in the race?
I don't think there's any doubt about it. If you think of the Constitution as being conservative, yes, it is the only conservative position we can hold. And the Republicans used to believe in this. They always talked about balanced budgets and limited government. We used to be the party known to get out of the wars the Democrats started. And even in 2000, George Bush ran on a humble foreign policy and condemned Clinton for nation building and policing the world. So I would say that I'm a very traditional, old line conservative of the old right, the Robert Taft position. And unfortunately now the Republican neoconservatism is identical with so much of what the Democrats have supported over all these years.
Are you in this race all the way to the convention in July?
I'm in it as long as I get the support, and we keep moving up. We started very, very low, essentially no supporters, no office, and not well known. And now, every time there's a debate or something going on the internet, our numbers keep growing. Just this one day this week, we didn't raise $6 million this time. It was nearly $2 million, and we got over 5,000 brand new supporters. With that enthusiasm and support growing, there'd be no way I could walk away from this now. And I see ourselves essentially in fourth place. There were 11 candidates in this race. So many have dropped out, and we've been beating Giuliani in all the votes so far. So essentially we're 4 out of 11, so I would say that we're doing pretty well.
Congressman Ron Paul, Republican candidate for president, thanks for being a guest on Northwest Notebook.
Thank you.